This is Wicket on Wisconsin. My name's Mike Wicket. After 10 years in Milwaukee talking sports, I took a bit of a break, but now I'm back and here to talk about the Packers, the Bucks, the Brewers, and more with you. And now inside the Koss Headphone Studios, this is Wicket on Wisconsin with me. All right, hey, we had to make a quick adjustment. My name's Mike Wicket. This is Wicket on Wisconsin. I had the wrong title in the video, so if you're watching and you're like, wait a minute, what's happening with your video? I had the wrong title. I had not changed it from last time when the Bucks lost a playoff game to the Miami Heat. But tonight, we are talking about the Milwaukee Bucks in a win against the Miami Heat, and this is necessary. See, normally, I don't drink on Sundays because just kickstart the Monday off. But it's Labor Day weekend, and after that game, I figure I may as well crack open a cold one because your Milwaukee Bucks just saved their season in the strangest way possible to win a playoff game. Hold on, I can take a drink of this victory beer for the Bucks. Hold on. And the reason we're a little late getting on here, if you're watching it on the live stream, you might hear a baby crying in the background. I was taking care of 3 babies. My wife was getting her hair done during a Bucks playoff game. Can you believe that? I was watching the babies, and she was getting her hair done during a Bucks playoff game, during an elimination game. So you might hear one of them, 2 of them, maybe all 3 are going to start screaming. Who knows? Hey, give me your thoughts on Twitter. If you're watching, I want to read them back during the show, or on Facebook. I want to read them back as well because finally, after a Bucks game, I'm in a good mood. You know, like it's been far too long since we have been in a good mood because the Milwaukee Bucks have given people so many headaches lately. It's just been infuriating. But that being said, now we're in a good mood, right? After that one, we got to be in a good mood after that one as the Milwaukee Bucks get the win to stay alive. Now we got a lot to talk about. I got to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in this one. There was definitely a lot of good. There was definitely some bad, and there's definitely some ugly. The biggest storyline coming out of this game, Giannis. I just saw a video from Fox Sports Wisconsin. Of Giannis had his leg wrapped from about the calf to the toe. It was wrapped. It wasn't a cast. He was high-fiving the guys first in line in the locker room when the guys were coming in after the OT win over the Miami Heat. So that was the first thing that I saw about Giannis because I was trying to get the latest info if we know what it is. Giannis starts out with a bang, especially the thunder dunk when I feel like Giannis, who gets hacked left and right and gets no love from officials whatsoever, like an MVP should. Giannis was pissed. You could tell Giannis was pretty pissed and took it out on the rim on one of those dunks. And I tweeted out a Hulk smash gif as soon as it happened. And you could tell at that point he was angry, and he eventually would start out 8 for 10 with 19. And it was looking like Giannis is going to have to carry this team because nobody else. What's strange, and why I love sports, but what's strange is Giannis was acting as if he was going to have to carry the entire game, the entire team, the entire time, everybody on his back. It felt like that. Sadly, hold on, take a sip of my beer. I hope every time I drink, you drink, if you're watching online. Sadly, Giannis goes down, and he tweaked the ankle. You know, one of those, I hate watching sprained ankles. Like, that's one of the things I just hate watching. But he sprained it in Game 3, and it just kind of did that roll thing, you know, and it rolls and pops back, and the player or an athlete hops up like they're in some serious pain, and which they are. I hate watching those. I thought this one looked a lot more painful. I thought when Giannis went down, I thought this one was a lot more painful. It looked like it. It sounded like it. He made more motion to it. He made more, I don't know. He just looked like he was in terror. And I think every Bucks fan was in terror after Giannis went down. He looked like it hurt. It looked like it hurt. He went to grab his right ankle, and he's on the ground, and he can't get up, and he can't put any weight on it. And I just thought, oh, there's the season. That's the season. I said, that's it. Not that I have a lot of faith that they were going to win 4 in a row with Giannis. Like, that's not a thing. I don't think it's going to be a thing with or without Giannis the rest of the way out. But I definitely thought there's no chance that the Bucks were going to win this ball game when Giannis went out. But then I started thinking about Milwaukee, and I started watching this team a little bit as they tried to regroup. And I know this is sacrilege, and I'm not saying they're better without Giannis. There is no way this team wins the division and wins 56 games and 60 games without Giannis. But in this particular game, in this particular matchup, what Miami was preparing for, Milwaukee looked better when Giannis went out. The offense looked better. And maybe, and I put this up on Twitter, and I want to read it verbatim because I don't want to screw it up. But I thought Giannis is done for the game, and oddly enough, the Bucks offense, it looks better without Giannis. More spacing, no wall in the middle of the key when Giannis tries to get to the rim. Less panic, as in, Giannis can't score. Now what are we going to do? Fewer ugly possessions. And I tweeted out that they had the talent to win that basketball game. Sure as heck right they have the talent to win that basketball game. And guys were hitting buckets, guys were hitting shots, and it started with Chris Middleton. I mean, I know that the Chris Middleton haters, it was an emotional game for Chris Middleton haters because he started out so cold. And then when Giannis went down, it was like, all right, it's time. Like, this is where you need to step your game up, and you need to be the guy. We're paying $30 million a year, and you're Robin or you're Pippen or whatever you want to call him. This is it. And Cash took over in quarters 2 and 3. And the Chris Middleton defenders, including me, we were ready. We're like, yeah, all right, we can go out here and talk about how Chris Middleton is worth it, and look how well he's played in this series. He was garbage in the Orlando series. He was garbage in the bubble beforehand, but look at Chris now. And as they're battling, and guys are hitting big ones, and I'm going to talk about Eric Bledsoe and his highs and lows. I'm going to talk about George Hill and some of the other guys, including Brook Lopez. And then the fourth quarter happened, and then Chris didn't make a basket. He went absolutely cold. And then all of a sudden, those of us defending Chris got real quiet because here come the Chris Middleton haters. They were ready. They were absolutely ready to say, see, when we needed him the most, he was absolutely garbage. And then Middleton had a big overtime. So it was such a roller coaster for Chris Middleton haters and Chris Middleton apologists, if that's the best term for it. It was one of those where it was a high and a low and a high and a low. And it was an incredible roller coaster basketball game to watch. And to be 100% honest with you, I watched 99% of this game on my phone. I had my Bluetooth in my ear, so I was watching ESPN with a speaker in my ear on my phone as I had a baby in an arm. The babies rotated. It was my oldest. It was the one twin. It was the other twin. And I watched the overtime on one of the TVs upstairs when I brought all the kids up and get them ready for bed. So I'm exhausted from watching this game. I hope you are too. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope this is a basketball game that you thought was fun to watch because I absolutely enjoyed it. I really did. Let's see. Joe says Middleton put the whole city of Milwaukee on his back. Let's see. It also says that West needs to keep guarding Butler. Man, that was the biggest problem not having Eric Bledsoe in game 1. It was the fact that it was the fact that Wes Matthews couldn't, or at least they didn't choose to put him on Jimmy Butler. And that's why he had such a monster first game in this series. Game 2, he locked him down. The problem is nobody else did anything they were supposed to in game 2. And then we saw what happened in the last couple of games. And yeah, I agree with you, Joe. I think that's a great point. Liz says, can we talk about all of the bad threes? All right, we have to talk about Eric Bledsoe. Drink. Maybe take 2 for Bledsoe. Maybe take 2 for Bledsoe. It is really getting difficult. It's really getting difficult to be on the Eric Bledsoe bandwagon and to be an Eric Bledsoe apologist and to be an Eric Bledsoe fan. It's getting tough because Eric Bledsoe doesn't make anything easy on those of us who are big fans of Bledsoe and approve of Bledsoe over Malcolm Brogdon in that decision. For various reasons, there are those of us that are huge. I back him all the time. But do you realize how hard it is to back Eric Bledsoe when he jacks up threes when there's 19 seconds left on the shot clock? Or my favorite one was, you knew this was happening too. It was late in the fourth quarter, and you absolutely knew this was happening. 9 seconds left on the shot clock. He's on the right wing. The camera actually went low to Bledsoe's level. So it's the close sideline camera. 9 seconds left. Bledsoe backs out. You just know what's coming. He's walking up to jack up a three, and I don't think it hit the rim. And if it did, it barely hit the rim. And it was absolutely infuriating to watch Eric Bledsoe jack up threes. At one point, I think, if I'm stealing your stat, I'm sorry, whoever put this out there, but it was a great stat. He was 4 for 5 inside the arc, 0 for 5 outside the arc. I have screamed this on podcasts before. If you have followed my podcast or if you watch these videos, I have 100% screamed at you that Eric Bledsoe, when he doesn't shoot threes and plays inside the key and plays within himself, he takes this team from being great to being elite. When he drives and kicks and goes to the rack and finishes, or even, a pull-up jumper from 15, 18 feet, Eric Bledsoe can be great. It's infuriating in Bud's offense to watch him jack up threes whenever he wants because he's not a good three-point shooter. Neither is Giannis. Those are guys I want to see go to the hole and pass. That's what I want to see. Get buckets within 5 feet of the rim or kick out to guys who are good at shooting threes. Chris, Hill, Wes, Lopez, Kyle Korver. Those are the only guys I actually want to see shoot any threes whatsoever from here on out. All right? I don't want to see Pat Connaughton and Dante DiVincenzo jacking up threes. I don't want to see Giannis, if he comes back, shooting threes. I don't want to see Eric Bledsoe ever shoot from further than 18 feet in my entire life. I know it's going to happen. I know it is going to happen. Chad says Middleton balled out today. Do you think Giannis will play the next game? I don't know if Giannis is going to play the next game. I really have no idea. Like I said, I only saw one video of him from Fox Sports Wisconsin. Paschke was narrating as they were coming back. First guy in the locker room was Giannis, and he was the guy high-fiving everybody coming off the floor. That was the only time that I saw any video of Giannis since he went down with the ankle injury. So I don't know, and I have not found out. I will have an update on my podcast page and on Twitter as soon as I find out. This is what everybody's going to be talking about on Labor Day Monday, is Giannis, is the ankle. Because I have a feeling it was more than an ankle. I have a feeling, and I'm not a doctor. I'm sitting at home just like you are. I'm watching the game. I'm watching the game on my phone. You're watching the game from your couch or your lazy boy or whatever. I think it's something more than an ankle. Just a hunch. I think it's an Achilles. I think it's something in there. Maybe it's a broken bone in the foot. I don't know. I hope Giannis can gut this out. I really do. Because what we learned watching this is if Bledsoe plays point guard and actually is the guy to bring the ball up the court, everybody else spaces out and does more stuff. It doesn't have to focus on Giannis. I've been saying this for a long, long time. It doesn't. If Giannis is great in the open court, grab the rebound, go. That's when Giannis is at his best. He's at a full steam. Everybody's backpedaling. And Miami, give them credit. They've done an incredible job. Every time there's been a miss, they're already back forming the wall before Giannis can get back. And that's why it's so hard for Giannis to gain any momentum in the half court because, well, frankly, Miami's been making most of their shots, it feels like. So Milwaukee brings the ball up slowly. But in transition, a couple of times you saw it today, Giannis takes, 3 steps and covers the entire court? That's when he is at his best. And when you see what this team can actually do in the half court without Giannis, and I am in no way saying they are better off without Giannis, but Miami didn't adjust until late in the ball game when Milwaukee went real small. Miami didn't adjust because you saw it, and I think it was Van Gundy who was talking about it after halftime, that they were racking up 30, 40 points in the paint when Milwaukee's scheme with Giannis is pack the paint, you jack up threes. Well, they had to go small, and everything they wanted inside, especially Bam Adebayo. God, he is Bam good. I feel like Miami made adjustments, and we talk about Bud's adjustments, Miami made the adjustments to counter Milwaukee going with 4 guards and Brook most of that second half. But Milwaukee hit shots. They spaced things out. They didn't have to contend with just the middle. And it was just such an inspiring performance. And for some reason, it woke Milwaukee's ass up on defense. They weren't the great defense that they were in the first, 2/3 of the season or whatever it was before COVID shut everything down. But there were guys getting hands in where they hadn't normally been getting hands in. There were guys with their arms straight up, frustrating Jimmy Butler or frustrating Goran Dragic or whatever. Miami is still really good. All of their starters scored at least 17 points in this ball game. I really I don't know if they're going to get another win in this series. Without Giannis, it doesn't feel likely. Who knows with Giannis? But maybe, just maybe, this was the kind of effort you needed to see to wake this team up and know that they can play at this level. They can hustle. They can move the ball. Man, the Bucks are so much better when they move the ball as opposed to just walk up, step back 3, walk up 3. They're so much better when they do it that way, when they pass the ball around, whether it's an ISO and a kick or it's a screen for Chris or whatever it is. It's just so much. First of all, it's more enjoyable for me to watch as a basketball fan when Milwaukee actually passes the ball around and they get it in the low post rarely, and then it comes back out. To me, that they can play beautiful basketball. They just sometimes choose to play ugly, selfish basketball. Hey, what's up to Eric and Howard and Larry and Jay? Chad says, I think it was honestly Giannis's foot. Howard says the Bucks finally played with 5 guys on offense, making quick decisions, move the ball, and put pressure on the Heat D. Howard, I agree with you, especially on moving the ball around. Far too often, and you probably watch this, it's, all right, Giannis has the ball at the top of the key. Let's just stand here and see what happens. No, that wasn't the case. It was props to Middleton for taking over and being the lead dog in this, and he and Bledsoe. But, boy, guys just hitting big shots, moving the ball around, seeing more guys actually get involved in the offense, not named Giannis Antetokounmpo. That was a beautiful effort. And I have dogged on DV3 as of late. I was a fan of the draft pick of Dante DiVincenzo out of Villanova. And then you kind of started to sour on him after the COVID stop because he had such a really good sophomore season for this team. Good defender, streaky shooter. Props to that kid. And I mean kid. What is he, 21? Props to Dante DiVincenzo, especially after he missed that first free throw, to hitting that second free throw. Because how much pressure was that kid under? A ton. An absolute, like the entire city of Milwaukee was watching, because if he misses that second free throw, it's over. There's no way Milwaukee wins that basketball game if he misses that second free throw. So just unreal. Cordell, now I don't know if you're trolling me here, Cordell, but Cordell says, how about that Tyler Hero? Hey, Hero was trash for the first 3/4 of this basketball game. He didn't do anything. Right? And then he hit the 2 huge shots, one on each side of the court for Miami. I know, listen, if you're rooting for Tyler Hero, if you're a Bucks fan rooting for Tyler Hero, I hope you're not rooting for Tyler Hero to win, all right? Because, yeah, he's a Milwaukee guy. He went to Whitnall, picked Kentucky over UW. I'd argue if you'd picked UW, he wouldn't be playing in the NBA right now, because that's just not the way guys' games progress when they go to Madison. But you go to Kentucky for a year, you play in that system, your stock rises, and you get to the NBA. I said this on the last podcast about Tyler Hero. If we redraft 2019, once Zion eats himself out of the league, because, God, how depressing was he when he got to the bubble, you're going to go Ja Morant 1 and Tyler Hero 2. I think that's going to be your NBA draft 2019 revisited when we look back in 5 years and say, remember that 2019 draft, or in 3 years or whatever. We're going to say Ja Morant 1, Tyler Hero 2. That kid can flat out ball. He is 20. What were you doing at 20? I was doing a lot of this at 20. It was illegal, but I sure as heck wasn't hitting major threes in an NBA playoff game for the 4th game in a row. I don't want to listen. I don't want to already hate Tyler Hero. I just sick of watching him have success against Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? So Cordell, yeah, he's great. He's going to be a stud in this league for a long, long time. Another drink. So now what? You know, I'm going to end this podcast thinking about now what. And up next, I mean, I don't know what you do with Jan. I have no idea. The thing is, I can't tell you what's going to happen. I can't tell you what to expect. I can't tell you what I would do on any front because I honestly have no clue what to do. Because we don't know what his plan is. We don't know how his ankle is, if it's his ankle, if it's his foot, if it's his Achilles, if it's his heel, whatever it is. We don't know what that is. So until we find out what that is, then you can talk about a game plan. If I'm the Bucks, I try to keep that under wraps as much as I possibly can. I don't want anybody to know what Giannis's health status is. I don't know how much of, if it's hockey, you just say it's a lower body injury, he'll be a game time decision, right? Don't you just say that? Doesn't work that way in the NBA because I'm terrified of one of the best coaches in the NBA, and I'm not talking about Bud. I'm talking about Eric Spoelstra because Spo is a great NBA head coach, and you saw that. You saw that in this. You see that in all four of these games. I mean, this is the first loss in the playoffs for Miami. They're now 7-1. They swept Indiana. They get the first 3 from Milwaukee, and they go to overtime in their first loss. Spo's a great coach. They knew exactly how to take Milwaukee out, and then they made the right adjustment after half. So what are they going to do? Because all of a sudden you might start to see the game plan change and they just start hammering the middle right out of the gate. If that's the case, then what does Milwaukee do if they don't have Giannis to counter that? Maybe you activate Robin Lopez. Maybe you get a bigger body there in the middle. I don't know what happens. I don't know. I know I can't wait for it, though. I really cannot wait for it. I think it's going to be amazing. And guys hitting big shots. Again, George Hill. What an effort by George Hill today. Bledsoe inside the key. Cash was fantastic. Brook Lopez, big buckets down the stretch for Milwaukee. This was so great. Joe writes, if the season ends in the next game, I think Giannis saw that this team has grit and will stay. On my heart of hearts, I believe this. I don't think Giannis is gone. I know people are worried about that. I know a lot of the chatter has been if the Bucks got swept, what would happen? Would he go to Miami? A lot of people are talking about Giannis playing for the Heat. I don't think Giannis is gone. I think if it's not, I don't think it's about money with Giannis, but I think Giannis obviously gets the most money if he stays in Milwaukee. I think because of no revenue and COVID, the salary cap comes way down. I don't think Giannis gets the mega deal regardless anywhere. Maybe he waits another year. Maybe he does what LeBron did and signed a 2-year deal, and then he can go after that big contract a couple of years down the road. I think Giannis has a big say in who replaces Bud if Bud is gone. I think Giannis has a big say if Bud is gone. Giannis is like LeBron. Giannis is like Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Giannis has a say in who does what. He means that much to the Bucks. You have to kind of give it to him. You do. You have to kind of give Giannis that kind of pull because he is listen, you lose Giannis Antetokounmpo, you're a 7 seed next year. You go back to fighting for the 8 seed every year until you find your next lucky, draft pick who happens to be a Greek prospect who weighs as much as Mike Wickett. You don't want that. You definitely don't. Cordell says, I think Giannis loves Milwaukee. Howard says, the Bucks need to play this way. Tuesday with or without Giannis. Giannis makes them better, but don't play 1-on-5 offense. Totally agree. Joe says, bring in Sam Cassell. I believe Sam Cassell is number 1 on their list. He's an assistant with the Clippers right now. If you could bring in Sam Cassell and Kawhi, that'd be cool too. I kid. I don't, but whatever. Matt writes, I feel the team moves the ball more without Giannis. Why don't we see this when Giannis is on the court? This is the best we know they can be. This is what they did back in February, in January, in December. They move the ball more. I don't know why they don't do it when Giannis plays. That's a great call, Matt. It's a tremendous call. They did this before the bubble. They moved the ball before the bubble. That's why they're so offensively great. It also helps, by the way, in the regular season when you're only playing against one team every other day as opposed to playing against one team who is just going to try to break your one strength, and that's why Miami is doing so well. And by the way, real quick, I don't want to make excuses, but think about how close this series really is to being 2-2. All right? First game, Bucks got outclassed. We know that. They turned the ball over 400 times. We're a questionable call away. Now, I know what happened on the previous play, but we are a questionable call away from that Giannis ticky-tack. It was a foul. He touched him. But we're a questionable call away from this thing being 2-2. We really are. We're also an overtime period away from a sweep. So this is a lot closer than a 3-1 series would have you indicate. Miami's looking like the better team right now. Look, nobody was 2003 or 2004 when the Red Sox came back from 2003. Nobody's ever done it in the NBA. Let's hope this was the spark that gets it done. Hey, thank you for checking this episode of Wicked on Wisconsin out. I appreciate it. We'll do another one right after the Bucks' next game, which is Wednesday against Miami. A couple of things. One, if you did not hear, between this podcast and the one I do about being a father called Check Out My Dad Pod, we recently passed 105,000 downloads. I want to thank you. Thank you so much for downloading and those who have subscribed on Apple and Spotify and Google Podcasts. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Those numbers are just mind-blowing. Been doing this for less than a year at 100,000 downloads between the two, and I really do truly mean thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And the other thing I'm going to ask of you, if you follow me on Twitter at Mike Wickett, it's my pinned tweet. It is also on the podcast page. It is also on my personal Facebook page. It is also up on Instagram. And if you go to wisconsinpodcast.com, you can vote. Please vote for this podcast, Wicked on Wisconsin, for the best sports podcast. I'm up for a Wisconsin Podcast Association award. I would appreciate it if you would please take 2 minutes out of your time and vote. Also, if you feel like it, my podcast about being a dad is up for Best Family Podcast, and both have been nominated for Best New Podcast. So I know that's a lot to ask of you. If you got 2 minutes, please do it. WisconsinPodcast.com, my Twitter page, at Mike Wickett, Instagram, at Mike Wickett, Facebook. You're probably watching on that right now. All right, that is it. Bucks win. Have a good night. Have a safe Labor Day Monday. Get home safe. Don't drink and drive. And you get to go to bed with a smile on your face, as opposed to a couple of nights ago when it sounded like the Bucks season was going to end this weekend. Until next time, this has been Wicked on Wisconsin. I thank you so much for watching. We will do it again coming up in a couple of days, if not before then. As always, go Pack Go Bucks, and go Brewers. Thanks for listening to Wicked on Wisconsin. If you have any feedback or you want to reach out to the show, you can find me on Facebook, Mike Wickett Podcasts, or you can email MikeWickettPodcasts@gmail.com. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Mike Wickett. Thanks to Silverman Sound Studios for providing the music for today's show. And you can find us anywhere you find your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Until next week, thanks for listening to Wicked on Wisconsin.